This week in Edmonton, the average price jump at the gas pump was 41 cents per liter. Now, all of a sudden, the NDP are talking about making gas prices more affordable, and we should all be very, very worried about that. A 41-cent price jump at the gas pumps this week in Edmonton. More than 37 cents per liter was the average price jump in Calgary. This is absolutely horrific. Everybody knows it's mom's taxi driving prime time in the fall. It's minor hockey season. You get yourself a couple of kids in hockey or any sport or extracurricular activity, and you can find yourself driving an easy 5 days per week, every single week. This fuel hike is a huge bite out of a family's bottom line. And with a provincial election less than a year away, of course, Alberta's governing NDP are trying to capitalize on the fuel cost woes, talking about making life more affordable for Albertans by lowering the price of fuel. And that scares me worse than the gas prices, but I'll get back to that in a second. Ontario's new Premier Doug Ford promised to make fuel more affordable for Ontario families during his campaign. And he did it nearly instantly. He repealed cap and trade. That's Ontario's version of a carbon tax. And that move is already starting to save families on fuel costs across the board. According to the Ontario government, the move will save the average family $80 per year on natural gas costs and about 5 cents per liter on their gasoline tax. Any little bit helps. Less money for the government, more money in a family's pocket, lower regulations. It's all fantastic. I love it. Now back to Alberta. The carbon tax on diesel fuel in Alberta is 8 cents per liter. The 2018 carbon tax on gasoline is nearly 7 cents per liter. But Alberta's NDP, they're not even considering or musing about dropping the carbon tax to a lower rate or eliminating the damned thing altogether, although that would be the easiest thing for them to control since they brought it in arbitrarily, making gas instantly more expensive overnight. Notley said as much when she was speaking to High River Online. Notley said, "So obviously we know that the jump in gas prices is a problem for folks. You know, you take nothing off the table, but at the same time, gas prices are cyclic. There's a lot of things that contribute in the market to gas prices going up and going down. We're moving into the season where they should come down. We're going to keep an eye on it." Oh, good. She's keeping an eye on it. Again, according to High River Online, Notley says her government's made it clear through the carbon tax. Alberta is serious about climate change, and that needs to be acknowledged when it comes to approving new energy projects. Albertans and the energy industry have worked very hard to make significant progress on climate change. So that needs to be something that is clearly understood to be something that would remove many of our projects from federal oversight. But we need clarity on that, Notley said. Yes. Notley still hanging on to that disproven, worn-out old trope that carbon taxes are getting pipelines approved and built. Where are these pipelines, by the way? With the amount of taxes we all pay for fossil fuels, we should be tripping over all the pipelines we've got. Anyway, these NDP, they are big government status. They dig that command and control economy. Now, I didn't like it, and I said as much, when Notley passed a law that allowed the government to throttle oil and gas supply to BC, even though it appealed to my spiteful side to crush the oil-addicted anti-pipeline hypocrites in British Columbia. Why? Because it gives the government too much power over oil and gas supply, over who sells what to whom and when. It's a power they can now use to control price. Now, don't think for a second that the NDP wouldn't use things we've already seen other big government statists use in the past, like passing legislation to cap gasoline prices or subsidize retailers on the backside with taxpayer money to artificially keep gas prices low. And capping the oil and gas price is something we've seen the federal government do during the National Energy Program. How did that work out for us? Not great. The NEP was command price control for the rest of the country. that in turn devastated Alberta. And if the NDP do this again in their own version, no one left doing business here will continue to do business here, especially if the government takes control over market prices that are set globally. Why not just invest in Saskatchewan or North Dakota or Texas, where you can get fair market value for your product and not have threats of supply being throttled? We may see lower prices at the pump, but we'll pay for it in spades in other ways, like ballooning debt to subsidize gasoline retailers to artificially depress their prices. And we could see supply shortages and companies failing to invest and build infrastructure in Alberta, taking thousands of jobs with them when they go. Or, we could just save 7 cents instantly without a carbon tax and do none of those horrible communist things. When socialists talk about making life more affordable, it always means that life is going to cost you way, way more. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Did you know that I have my own weekly show here at The Rebel? It's aptly called The Gun Show. We talk about issues sometimes the mainstream media won't touch, issues facing everyday Canadian families. But to get access to my show and the rest of our amazing premium content, treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.